I do many things, a number of things.
Okay.
But essentially, I'm a lecturer. I teach at the university. I am a trainer. I do a lot of training, and especially on empowerment. I'm a researcher. I'm a consultant. Yes, among other things. And I'm an author. I have written several books, and I'm still writing.
Okay.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. There is the conversation on work fitness.
Yeah.
Maybe someone could be asking themselves, what is work fitness?
Yeah, before we actually ask ourselves what is work fitness, I want to start by saying, Frank,
Yes.
that if there is anything that is enjoyable in life, perhaps apart from eating and drinking,
Yes.
it is to find enjoyment in what you do.
Uh-huh.
Actually, the Bible says in Ecclesiastes 2, verse 24,
Yes.
that King Solomon, in his wisdom, said that there is nothing better for a person than to eat and drink and find satisfaction in his toil or in his labor.
All right.
In fact, in Ecclesiastes 3:22, he more or less says the same thing. That there is nothing better than to find or to enjoy your work.
Yes.
So the issue of the work is very critical, but one has to identify what is the kind of work that you can enjoy.
Yes.
And that's why we are talking about work fitness. Work fitness has to do with aligning your personality
Yes.
with the right work.
Personality with the right work.
Yeah, aligning your occupational personality with the right career.
Okay.
Because there's a lot to do here on earth. There is a lot you can do when you wake up in the morning.
Yes.
But what is your fit? What is your best fit? It's actually having the right placement or work placement. It's actually having the right, what I would call,
Yes.
praising or aligning yourself with what you're meant to do. The last time I was there, I was talking about several things that you must address in life for us to live our lives to the fullest.
Yes.
And the first one is, who am I? The question of identity.
Yes.
And the second one is, what can I do? The question of potential. And the third one is, why am I here? The question of purpose.
Yes.
So actually, work fitness is aligning what you can do with why you are here. It's
right.
aligning your potential, your identity with your purpose. Essentially, success is fulfillment of your purpose here on earth.
That's success.
That's success. That unless you do what you are meant to do, no matter what else you do, you'll not be really successful because you have not really fulfilled where you are born in the first place.
All right.
So work fitness is aligning your identity and potential
Yes.
with your purpose in life.
All right. You're talking about work fitness.
Yes, work fitness.
Many have had the challenge differentiating between work fitness and career fitness. Where do the two meet?
The two overlap and they're more or less the same.
Okay.
But when you talk about career, we are referring to a life journey that comprises of education, comprises of training,
Yes.
work experience, and community involvement.
All right.
Career is not just a job, the way people may think.
Yes.
Career is also part of that education that you are getting. So anybody, even in a kindergarten, has
Yes.
already started
Their
pursuing the career.
Okay.
Anybody in primary school, junior school, senior school, secondary school, tertiary colleges, universities, tertiary institutions
Yes.
are already pursuing career. People who are working, that's part of their career.
Yes.
Because career, it's what we go through when we work, when you go to school, when you're being trained, when you're involved with community.
Yes.
And work, essentially, is everything that you do, that you spend energy on.
Yes.
But there's a difference between a job and a
Yes.
work.
Okay.
Job is what you are paid to do.
Job you are paid to do.
Work is what you are born to do.
Okay.
And how fulfilling it is when your job is what you are born to do.
Wow. Awesome.
When you do what you are born to do. Much of the frustrations that people have is when they pursue the wrong career. When they are doing what they are not born to do.
Yes.
That can be very frustrating.
Yeah.
And that's why King Solomon says in his wisdom that there is nothing better than for a man to eat and drink and find satisfaction in what he does, in his work.
All right.
Yeah.
So, talking about work fitness, Is it possible that somebody could be doing something
Yeah.
that they're not fit in, working on something
Yeah,
maybe?
yeah, and it happens that you are actually pursuing the wrong career. That you don't, work fitness is whereby you try to match your occupational, personal characteristics
Yes.
or attributes with the right career.
Okay.
So that there's a good fit.
Yes.
That you fit in. The Bible says in Romans 12:6 that God has given us different gifts
Yes.
to do certain things well. According, or some version says, according to the grace given to us. So, Frank, there's certain things that God has gifted you.
Yes.
Not everything.
Yeah.
To do it well. If you found that which God has gifted you in,
Yes.
and you plunge into it, you'll really be happy in this life.
All right.
And many times, people think that job satisfaction is derived from earnings,
Yes. Money.
money. Whereas that is important. Research has shown that what really contributes most to job satisfaction
Yes.
is when you do that which you are born to do.
Okay.
When you are fulfilling your purpose, when you are passionate doing it, when you love what you do.
Yes.
Yeah.
Daktari, there's a time you mentioned to me about the technician,
Yeah.
the
yeah,
manager.
Yeah.
Would you want to just mention some of these things?
Now, we want to now see how do you get into, how do you cultivate career fitness? And there are a number of things that we shall look at here.
Yes.
Because what you're trying to do is to look at the requirements of a career or work requirements.
Yes.
And match them with your career identity or your, what I would call, work personality. We want to match that.
Yes.
And so essentially we can look at 3 dimensions
Yes.
about work personality.
All right.
There is what we call personal work attributes.
Work attributes.
Your personal work attributes. That's number 1.
Yes.
Number 2 is what we call work orientation, your personal work orientation. And the last one is what we call work environment.
All
because we
right.
fit into a work environment. And let's start with work attributes.
Yes.
And as I said, you are gifted for something. So what are those occupational attributes
Yes.
that God has put in you? Number 1, potential.
Potential.
That within you lie some gifts, some talents,
Yes.
according to the grace that God has given you. There is something that God has put in you, in each and every one of us,
Yes.
that speaks into a career, that should give us, fit us into a career.
So-
what is your gift?
So it provides direction.
Certainly. That for you to have a career fit, you must align your gift with what you do.
Okay.
That's gift number 1. Secondly,
Yes.
that is personal attribute, has to do with your passion. What are you passionate about? What do you love doing? We are not passionate about everything.
Yes.
The heart is very selective. There are things you're passionate about, there
Yeah.
are things you're not passionate about.
Sure.
In each and every one of us, there's a flame that seeks to be quenched by doing something
Yes.
that you are born to do. What is your passion? What do you love doing naturally? And thirdly, has to do with personality.
Personality.
How is your personality? How is your temperament? We are born with temperament.
Yes.
Some of us are outgoing, are extroverts, others are introverts. And for you to have a good career fit, there should be a good match between your temperament
Yes.
and what you do.
Yeah.
Because God has given us different temperaments. And if you have a mismatch between your temperament and what you do,
Yes.
you have a hard
problem.
time. It definitely will be a problem. So we should actually identify, you should actually fit our temperaments that are inborn with the right career, depending on the requirements of a career.
Yes.
You can imagine an introvert who doesn't like going out, who doesn't like talking to people,
Yes.
and is given a job for a salesperson. When you have to go talking to people, you need to be outgoing, you
Yes.
need to naturally smile and have grace for the people.
It's a
But we
mismatch.
know, it will be a very serious mismatch. There will be no career fitness.
Yes.
And last but not least, in terms of personal attributes, there is what we call, what problem are you burdened for? We are burdened differently.
Yes. So the problem, you can provide a solution.
Yeah, all of us are solutions to solve certain problems.
Yes.
When God created you, He created you as a solution to solve a problem. Identify that problem.
Yes.
Assign your gift with the right problem. Problem has to do with your purpose. That God created each and every one of us for a purpose.
Yes.
That's why all of us are burdened in a certain way. We are burdened differently. Identify your burdens in life, the problems that God has created you to solve.
Yes.
So those are some of the personal work attributes that will help you to match who you are with what you can do in life.
Yes.
With why you are here in life. And secondly, we have what you call work orientation.
Yes.
Work personality. That in each and every one of us, there are three people.
Okay.
Career-wise, as far as our career identity is concerned,
Yes.
we are triune being. We have three personalities.
Okay.
Number one, there is a technician in us.
Technician.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there is a manager in us. And there's an entrepreneur in us. Let me explain this.
Yes.
And even when you go to organizations, institutions, you're likely to find these three kind of people. They are not just within us. They are in institutions, in organizations. And you need to have the right alignment
Yes.
of who you are with the right job.
Yes.
Let me start with explaining who is this technician in us. The technician is a doer. This person just wants to do things.
Hands-on.
He's an operations guy. He's a guy who is given to just tell me what to do, and
Yes.
I'm gonna do it.
Okay.
He's a guy who, when you take a car to the garage, what is the problem? He wants to fix it.
Yes.
Bring the right tools.
Yeah.
He is a doer. That's a technician. In each and every one of us, there's
Yes.
a technician
Okay.
who just want to do things. They just know what needs to be done.
Yes.
They actually live in the present, not in the past or the future. They are concerned
It's
about now. Do I have the tools? Do I have the methodology? Let me do it.
Yes.
Secondly, we have a manager. The manager is the director. He directs us to do what you ought to do.
Okay.
He's a guy involved with planning. He's a guy who is involved with order.
The strategy.
He's a guy who is involved with strategy. He's a guy who wants to maintain the status quo.
Okay.
He wants there to be order in life. A manager is the one in charge of planning. He's a guy who lives in the past because he wants to maintain status quo.
Yes.
He wants things done well, not just doing things.
Lives in the past.
Yeah, he lives in the past because he wants to maintain the status quo.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a
History.
manager. He's a controller.
All right.
Yeah. So in each and every one of us, there is a manager. In every organization, there ought to be a manager.
Yes.
Someone who oversees how operations are done. Remember, the technician is the operations guy. The manager is the one in charge of operations.
Yes.
He supervises. He sees to see that all operations are going on well.
In charge of technicians.
In charge of technicians. In charge of the doer.
All right.
And lastly, there is entrepreneur. Entrepreneur is a dreamer
Okay.
in each and every one of us. He is a vision bearer. The first one was a doer. The first was D.
Yes.
Technician is a doer. The manager is the director. He directs things, how
Yes.
things ought to be done. And the last one, the entrepreneur is a dreamer. He's a vision bearer.
He sees tomorrow.
He lives in the past, in the future. Whereas the technicians live in today, he's
Yes.
concerned about work today
Yeah.
to provide food to put food on the table. The manager lives in the past because he wants to maintain order and procedures. The entrepreneur lives in the future.
All right.
He casts his vision far and see what needs to be done so that we can actually sustain the technician at his workplace. We can sustain the manager at his workplace.
Yes.
Ideally, for us to perform harmoniously, we need to have a good balance between the three of these. The challenge is where there is disequilibrium, when these three people don't exist in a fair balance.
Yes.
And generally, you see, and there's an author of E-Myth, Michael Gerber, has come up with a very good insight about this.
Yes.
And he says that generally many people have 10% have 10% of entrepreneurship, 20% of the manager,
Yes.
and 70% of the technician. They are given to doing things, and there lies the problem. There lies the problem. When much of what you are as a work personality
Yes.
is in doing things.
You just
wake up
live
in
now.
the morning, brush your teeth, take a shower, take breakfast, come to work, do all the work, go back home, take
Yes.
supper, go to sleep.
Uh-huh.
Then you wake up tomorrow.
Enough for the day.
And don't think about where am I going. You don't let the entrepreneur in you think about career progress. Where do I want to see myself tomorrow? Do I go back to school? That's a dreamer in you.
Yes.
Do I add value? Do I go for some professional courses? Where do I want to see myself in the next 10 years, in the
Yes.
next 20 years? That's a dreamer in you. That's an entrepreneur in you. And you need that. Then, but you also need the manager in you.
Yes.
To make sure that there is a work-life balance. Someone to make sure that you take care of the goose that lays the golden eggs. Someone to make sure that you are not overdoing things.
Yes.
As much as you require the technician in you that does the right things.
Dr. I think just at that point, where and how do we strike the balance between these three people, these three personalities?
That's a good one.
Uh-huh.
How do you strike the balance?
Yes.
And you strike the balance, first of all, by self-awareness.
Okay.
By being conscious that I need these three people.
Okay.
I need to look up to the future as I live today, and as I take cognizance of where I'm coming from.
Yes.
So the first thing is that awareness that there is this thing new. You see, essentially we are three in one, even biblically.
Yes.
That Frank, for example, a person is three in one. You have the spirit,
Yes.
you have the soul,
Yeah.
and you have the body. Work-wise, occupational-wise, career-wise, we are
Yes.
three in one. That in you there is a dreamer, there is the entrepreneur,
Yes.
and in you there is a manager, and in you there is a technician. How do you allow them to coexist in a certain way?
Yes.
You know, it's like if you allow these things not to work harmoniously, the three in you,
Yes.
then you're going to have chaos in your life.
Okay.
Because the technician may not want to have a boss. He just wants to do things
Yes.
his way. He doesn't want to have a boss.
Yes.
And therefore, when the dreamer comes to intervene and tell him, or the manager, please, you need to do this right.
Yes.
He say, can I have my way? So what you need to do
Yes.
is to allow the three in you to coexist harmoniously and to make sure that your life does not become a roaring mass.
So they complement one
They
another.
complement one another, that you require the three of them, that you allow yourself to dream, to have what you call reflection. That don't just, someone say, it's Aristotle who said, life without self-examination is not worth living.
Okay.
That you need to reach somewhere and examine your life.
Yes.
You need to have goals. You need to have a personal strategic plan. Where do I want to see myself in the next 5 years? Where do I want to see myself in the next 10 years?
Yes.
Have goals in life. Have a strategic plan that you cast into your future, so that you don't retire in the same position. You don't camp on the same mountain for too long.
Yes.
Allow the dreamer in you to dream and put that in a strategic plan, just like what companies do.
Yes.
Then cultivate order in your life. We call it work-life balance. Let the manager also thrive.
Yes.
Let the director, don't just do things. Cultivate, have your private life well ordered.
Yes.
Have something to monitor how you do.
So that's the manager.
Have
in
what,
you.
have what you call self-governance. Govern yourself, have self-control. And it is still in the strategic plan.
Yes.
Do you have a vision statement that guides you? Do you have a mission statement? Do you have personal goals? Do you have strategic objectives? Do you have an implementation matrix of your personal goals in life? It's just like asking yourself, do you have a budget? If I may take just the spending part of your life.
Yes.
Do you have do you run on a budget, or you're an impulsive buyer? Whatever you want to buy, you buy.
Whatever
because the
you
technicians, when you take your technicians to the shops, you just want to buy everything as long as the money is there. No plan, no budget. But the manager within you will say, "Can we have budgets? Can we do things as per the budget?" That's the manager in you.
Yes.
The manager in you wants you to have a schedule, a work schedule.
Yes.
That you even have a timer when to wake up, when to go to work. You have a personal program. After work, what did you do?
Yes.
And of course, we also require the technician. At the end of the day, it is actualizing what you are saying.
He's on the
So
ground.
what you need to have is a fair balance. Career fitness comes in when those three things exist in perfect balance. But I want to add this. Everybody has a work orientation.
Yes.
As much as I'm saying, we have the three in us. Even after going through the training, you may discover some people are at best being a technician. You assign them the management role,
They mess up.
they mess up. Because them, they excel in the technical work.
Yes. And what would happen, Dr. just at that point, if at all the management will see that there is this young man working very hard and delivering, on beating and meeting deadlines. And then they decide, now because he's performing well as a technician, why can't we now have him promoted to the managerial level?
And it happens many times, and that's where the challenge lies.
Yes. So it's not a better way to maybe a yardstick to...
It's not. Well, you should be very careful. You see, this is what I have realized,
Yes.
especially in my teaching profession. When you excel as being the teacher
Yes.
in teaching, and you have an award as the best teacher of the
Yes.
year, what the system does is to promote you in the administration. Being a good technician, being
Yes.
a good teacher, because teaching is technical, being a technician does not necessarily qualify you
To be a
be a
manager.
good manager. There's what you call Peter's principle that says people are normally promoted to their highest level of incompetence. What that means, when you excel at the technical work, people think, how best can we reward Frank? Surely he has done so well. Let's promote him to management position. But his work inclination is not managerial.
It's to the highest level of
Incompetence. That's why our learning institutions are struggling. Because someone did so well, became a professor. He's very good in teaching and research. And know what happens? The system that you have in place is such that the next thing, you become an administrator. That's why you have institutions sometimes are not being run very well.
Yes.
Because people are being promoted to the highest level of incompetence. They don't have the managerial work orientation. Because you should be very careful.
Yes.
There are people whose work orientation is managerial. They're not even very good in technical work. Yes, they know how to do it. But their work orientation is managerial.
All right.
Those are the people to promote into management. But when you see, a pastor friend of mine told me that in their church, there was this guy who was very good in playing instruments.
Yes.
Very good in piano. Who was doing so well.
Yes.
When the songs are being played, the guy would play the piano so well. God had given him that gift according to the grace
Yes.
to do it so well. They promoted him to be in charge of the
praise and worship.
the group, whatever it was. He performed badly. He instead of coordinating people, he messed people up. And they just had to just demote him and tell him, please go back to your piano. You know why? Just because you are very good in technical work does not make you
a good manager.
You know, I've seen people rise from the technical work, and as a part of rewarding them, they are promoted to management, where now management requires a different skill set.
Yes.
Emotional intelligence. And technical work, especially when you're dealing with tools, does not require really much of emotional intelligence. But dealing with people. We need to align people properly, depending on their work personality.
All right.
Is this person more of a manager, an entrepreneur, or a technician?
All right.
I agree. There are people who can, and actually properly assigned from being a technician to management because they have what it takes.
Yes.
And maybe their work orientation is management. Let me give you a very good example. In soccer, we have the referees.
Yes.
Are they the best players?
Not really.
We would even put them on the team, but they are very good in refereeing.
Yeah.
But what they are telling you to do, they can't even do it themselves. Because playing sports is a technical work.
Yes.
But directing, managing, making sure that it's done well, it's a different ball game altogether.
Yes.
That is where we go wrong. That's where there's mismatch. When I look at Frank and I see he's performing so well in broadcasting, and I want to make him the media station manager.
The head of media.
The head of media. Well, you may have the what it takes.
Yes.
But that does not necessarily mean it. Because just being good in the technical work does not necessarily make you good in managerial or entrepreneurial work.
I see.
Yeah, there's those three people in the workplace.
All right. I think I need to take you back a little bit. Why is it important to have career fitness or work fitness? Why is it important?
Wow, that's good. What's the second? What are the benefits of career fitness? The first thing I would say is that once there is career fitness becomes a yardstick, then we shall have very good career outcomes.
Okay.
And what are these career outcomes?
Yes.
One, there will be proper job or career assignment.
All right.
That we shall place people on the basis of career fitness. And that's very critical, even for performance at workplace, that people are aligned properly with what they do. I am told in HR or in management, one of the most difficult things to do is to assign the right person for the right jobs.
The most difficult thing.
Yeah, one of the most difficult things in HR or actually in management
Placement.
is placement. And you go to organizations and you see people are misplaced. Someone whose career fit, and sometimes you are directed by what they did, the training they did in school, which again may be a mismatch.
Yes.
With a gift.
So someone can train for the wrong area.
Many do.
Yeah.
Yeah. You went to school to do the wrong thing. You have been pursuing the wrong thing.
All through.
And the good thing with career, you can always change. Only to discover, this is not my match. I don't have a good match here. I don't have the career fitness. So it helps us to do proper assignment, proper job placement. And number 2, which is very critical, job satisfaction.
Okay.
Just being happy. Just being happy. If you want to be happy with what you do, just have the right career fitness.
All right.
Just job satisfaction. I'll call it career satisfaction.
Yes.
It's not just job. Even the courses that you do. I teach at the university and I've noticed there are students who don't like what they do. They are not happy. Why? There's a mismatch.
Yes.
There is poor career. There's a very low career fitness.
Is it that they noticed it late or they never understood what they wanted?
Poor career choices. You can never run away from yourself.
Yes.
No matter how much you run away from yourself, it's like a shadow. You can't run away from your shadow.
Yeah.
So if you choose that which you don't have career fitness, it will haunt you.
Yes.
Because there'll be something lacking in the background telling you, where are you taking me? Where am I? I've seen so many people so disoriented in class. They're like, oh my God. I've asked my students, do you enjoy what you're doing? A number of them tell me, no, I don't enjoy. I'm here just because this is where I was praised.
Yes.
This is where the marks praised me. But I don't enjoy. But you can tell someone who enjoy what he does.
Yes.
You can tell.
Yeah.
So there is that career satisfaction. Thirdly, performance. It shows. When you have the right career fitness, wow, you perform well. If being a broadcaster like you, when you have the right career fit, you perform well.
Yeah.
And the productivity is good. You can tell. But if you're in the wrong career, if you have very low career fitness, you perform poorly. Many people today, be it in schools, colleges, at workplaces, part of the reason as to why they are performing dismally is career mismatch.
All right.
It's low career fitness. And then thirdly, career progress. That if you're in your niche, you tend to advance in that niche.
Okay.
You tend to move from one level to another level. By the way, I started teaching in secondary school.
Yes.
Secondary school. I enjoyed teaching. I loved teaching. I could only advance to higher level. I went back to college, did my master's, did my PhD. I'm teaching at a higher level. Why? I love it. I enjoy doing it. So when you have the right career fit, when you have the right match between your personality and the career,
progress.
You're likely to progress. There's career progress.
Wow.
And then there is what you call self-actualization.
Self-actualization.
That ideally, we need to actualize who God created us to be.
Right.
And part of that is having the right career identity and just getting into your niche. And you can't help than just to actualize who you are. It's unfair to yourself, Frank, to engage in something that is not part of you.
Yeah.
Because work is expression of your own identity.
Sure.
It's an expression of your gift. And when you subject yourself to that which is not part of you, you do yourself a lot of injustice and disservice.
All right. I think, Doctor, we just hold it right there. We take a short break to have the latest in business, and then we'll be back shortly. If you've got any questions, thoughts, or comments, you can share with us on 0717 400 555. You can as well engage with us on our SMS platform 20933 at Hope FM Live across our digital platforms, and of course at Favored Frank. Right about now, let's take the latest in business. I'll be back shortly.
The Corporate Hub on Activate. Your catalyst.
All right, absolutely. We are talking about 10 minutes to the top of the hour, the 8th of August, the year 2024. And we're just having an amazing conversation on work fitness, and we are engaging Dr. James Karau, who is helping us with the conversation to unpack it and help you understand it even better. Now, Dr. Karau, we talked about the significance.
Yes.
So there is a point you had left on cultivating work fitness.
Yeah. The last thing I want to say, we talked about the different work orientations, being a technician, a manager, or entrepreneur. We talked about personal work attributes.
Yes.
What are your gifts? What are your potential? What is your passion? What is your personality like? And lastly, I want to say, we fit into a work environment.
Okay.
But you need to find as an individual the right work environment for you, given your occupational personality type.
Yes.
And there is what you call a Riasic model by Professor John Horrod came up with a very good Riasic model that basically we can fit all careers into 6 categories.
Okay.
There's an acronym, Riasic. And the first one is, and you need to identify, for you to have a good career fit, you need to identify what is your work environment.
Yes.
Because we actually pursue our career in a certain work environment. One is realistic.
Yes.
Realistic has to do with, once again, the doers. Those people who like working with tools.
Yes.
They like working with things. They are called doers, the realistic work environment. And there are so many professions that fit into that.
Yes.
Technicians, they are the engineers, they are the doctors. People who best work with tools, with machines, with hands. They like doing things, realistic.
Yes.
Then we have investigative. Investigative are people we call thinkers. They like working with data.
Yes.
They like working with ideas. These are researchers. These are scholars. They just like investigation. Investigative work environment. And there are several careers like research that falls into that.
Yes.
And part of scholarly work. And then we have artistic work environment.
Okay.
Artistic has to do with creators. They create content. There are people who are creative.
Yes.
There are people who are expressive. This has to do with things like drama, art, craft, all that kind of thing. There are people who, their best work environment is that.
Okay.
And then we have what we call social work environment.
Yes.
These are called helpers. They like working with people. They like helping people.
Yes.
Like teachers, nurses, counselors. That's another space.
Actually, I don't know if you're talking about... we have those who scored A, we have those who scored C, we have those who scored B.
Yeah.
You talked of...
I'll mention about that later on.
Yes.
Let me finish this with the work environment. Because for you to have a good career fitness, you must identify the right work environment.
Okay.
Because if you go to the wrong work environment, then there will be a serious mismatch. There are people whose tools of trade are things, non-living things, tools. That's realistic. There are people whose tools of trade, according to the way they are wired, the way God has created them, are people. They are at best when they work with people. That's social environment. Then we have what we call enterprising environment. These are people who are persuaders. They like influencing people.
Okay.
They like doing projects. This is a space of business. And there are people who are good at that. This is a piece of politics where you are influencing people, you are setting ideas, you are setting things, you are
Yes.
carrying out projects. And lastly, we have what we call conventional work environment. These are people who are called organizers. They like routines and procedures.
Yes.
They work best with making sure things are flowing well.
Okay.
These are office people. These very good in office administration, like clerks, bankers, where there are procedures, you are maintaining procedures.
Okay.
But we need to know, by and large, someone said, and even wrote a book, why the A students work for the C students, and the B students work for the government. That again, people can be classified in many ways. And this is A stands for academicians. These are A students. Yeah, they are very good people who have
Yes.
gone to colleges and universities. They are these people who have pursued academicians. But now we have what we call C students. These are capitalists. They breathe business.
The C students.
Projects, the C students. That's why you never laugh at anybody. Because by the time the A students are getting their degrees,
Yes.
the C students may not even have gone far.
The
They may
capitalists.
just have gotten the capitalists, may just have got the basics.
Uh-huh.
And they went to start their own startups.
Yes.
They started their businesses. By the way, by the time the A students are coming from college, you'll be hired by the owner of the company who started a startup and now it's a big company. And that could be the irony of life.
I
That
see.
the people you left behind will end up being your employer. And that's what we are saying, why A students end up working for the C students. And the B students are bureaucrats. They work for government. These are the career civil servants.
Bureaucrats.
Bureaucrats. If I had time, I would talk about the D students.
We'll spare time for this conversation in the future.
Yeah.
All right. So I want very short, briefly to talk about how can one tell that they're in the right path, work path or career path.
Yeah. How do you know? There are a number of indicators, and some of them you have already mentioned. One,
Yes.
there is that intrinsic motivation that comes from within you
Okay.
when you are doing it.
Yes.
That you don't require extrinsic motivation. When I talk about intrinsic motivation, it is that inner motivation, that inner self-drive. When you have an inner self-drive
Yes.
to wake up every morning and come to the studio, that's an indicator. But when you have to be motivated by external things, we call
Yes.
that extrinsic motivation. People who are always worried about their money, the earnings. If it takes you money, for example, to do what you do, that could be an indicator
Yes.
that you may not be in the right career.
All right.
So, what is your motivation? Is it intrinsic or intrinsic? That is tied to job satisfaction or career satisfaction.
Okay.
Do you enjoy what you do? Do you love it? Do you like it? How is your passion?
Yes.
That's an indicator, and especially from within. Last but not least, performance.
All right.
Generally, people who are in their right careers perform well.
Wow.
They are self-driven. They have intrinsic motivation.
Yes.
They love it. They are passionate about it, and they enjoy doing it, and they perform well. That's why the Bible says that God has given us different gifts according to the measure He has given us to do certain things well. Not everything, not
Yes.
everybody. I don't think we are created to be a jack of all trades and a
Yes.
master of none. Identify your career fits, pursue it,
Yes.
and excel.
Wonderful. That was so profound. We have a comment here. Good morning, Frank. What are teaching in such a morning? It leaves me in a confused state because I don't believe I'm where I'm supposed to be.
Oh,
What now do I need to do in such a state? Then there is one saying here, Frank, I'm enjoying the business class. It's such an opportunity to get such knowledge as a college student. I've never known what I should do with the vision I carry. This is Caleb Msioki from Kitengela. Thank you so much for your comment. And there is one here following from Tigoni, ready to learn. Thank you for the wonderful lessons, great lessons. Wow, this is Simon Mayende. Thank you so much for your insights. All right, thank you so much. And Dr.
yes.
We've come to the end of our conversation.
Oh, time has moved so fast.
So fast. And I know there is a place we can get these and many more.
Yes.
There is a show coming up on TV
Sure.
every Saturday at 8 p.m.
Sure.
And it will be both also on radio.
Yes. On TV and radio.
On TV and radio, it's called The Overflow Show.
Yeah.
It's good to let the listener know the Overflow Show. That's where you can get more of such.
More of these insights.
Yes.
And on the Overflow Show, we'll be looking at living life in abundance.
Yes.
In all our aspects of life.
Yeah.
You'll be trying to address 5 questions.
Yes.
Who am I? The question of identity. Why am I here? The question of purpose. What can I do? The question of potential.
Yes.
And where am I going? The question of destiny. Because life revolves around those 5 questions.
Yes.
And we believe that Christ came that we not only have life, but have it to the fullest. We want people to enjoy being themselves.
Yes.
We want people to be their real selves and cultivate the best version of themselves.
Yes.
We want people to just enjoy their space, discover who God created them to be.
Yes.
So we shall first of all deal with the issue of identity.
Identity.
Who am I? Be it career identity,
Yes.
spiritual identity, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Because identity is motivation.
Who am
motivated.
I?
But the question of self-awareness.
Yes.
And you can only love yourself to the extent that you know yourself. So we shall deal with the question of self-identity, the
Yes.
self-concept, the self-esteem. And then we shall look at the question of purpose. Why am I here?
Yes.
Why was I born? Because as I told you earlier, significance is birthed when you pursue your purpose.
Yes.
That actually success in life is fulfillment of purpose. And not just earning money or billions of money. Have you fulfilled your purpose? The Bible says when David served God's purpose in his generation,
Yes.
he breathed his last. If there is anybody who is given accolades, who God literally commends in the
Yes.
Bible, is David. Why? He pursued God's purpose. Are we pursuing the right purpose? So we should address the question of purpose. We should address the question of relationships. Relationships with ourselves, with God, and with other people. Because life is in living with other people.
Yes.
The way to be happy is to make other people happy and have a lead to heaven down here on earth.
Wow.
Zig Ziglar said that you can get what you want in life if you help enough people
Yes.
get what they want
What
in
they
life.
want.
In other words, your joy, your happiness is dependent on what you do to other people. Love your neighbor as you love yourself. But you can't love your neighbor if you don't know how to love yourself. And you can't love yourself if you don't know yourself, because you can only love to the extent you know who you are.
All right.
Those are the issues we shall be addressing. The issues of career choices,
Wealth creation.
wealth creation, money matters.
Yes.
We shall tackle that.
I tell you, it's a lot. It's
Tune
a
in
lot.
to
You
that
need-
show
You need to tune in
on Saturday,
Saturday.
at 8 p.m.
Sure.
Every Saturday.
All right, I'll be your host on that program, The Overflow Show, and we'll have Daktari as our facilitator. Will be giving more insights and wisdom on different topics. Daktari,
Yes.
I think at that we're good.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for creating time to be here.
You're most welcome.
All right, we wish you a lovely day. Have yourselves a great day, and of course, take care. See you tomorrow, same time, same place. And of course, as we wait for Saturday for the launch of the Overflow Show on Hope TV and Hope FM and across our digital platforms at Hope FM Live. Wishing you a fruitful day. Bye bye.
Hope FM. It's now 9 a.m.
Listen and live.
A revival is breaking out.
The voice of hope in the air. News on the go with Gloria Musi.